I was really hesitant to make this video. However, in the last 3 to 4 months, I've received at least about 10 calls from younger generation owners who are getting ready to take over a multi-generation construction company, ranging from the 2nd generation to even up to the 4th generation. And it was the younger folks who called me up. I would say probably in their upper 20s, 30s. I believe 1 or 2 were probably in their 40s, I'm assuming. Their fathers were in the upper 60s, maybe 70. And they called me up and they knew that changes needed to happen within the organization. However, their fathers refused to accept it, although they did accept and they did acknowledge that changes needed to happen. But yet they didn't want to take any action. So finally I started asking, why is that? Why is it that the older generation refuses to ask for help, but the younger generation understands the resources that are out there? And I've come to the conclusion it's several things. One, obviously the younger generation is more tech savvy. There's a lot more resources now at our fingertips than there was in the 1970s and 1980s. That's obvious, right? They also said that they fear that, or their fathers, they think that their fathers fear that after 30 years of doing certain things, certain ways, that they finally have several operations figured out. And they fear that someone's going to come in and within a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks maybe, are going to explain to them that there's better ways to do things, especially someone such as myself who's talking to contractors all around the country. So I'm constantly hearing what's working and what's not working, right? So why would I tell somebody to go do something that's not working? But what's working for one contractor may not work for another. So they feel that they're going to come to a conclusion that they spent 30 years trying to figure something out. And the next thing you know, they're going to have this awakening that they wasted maybe hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars doing something what could have been done better. They also have a lot of pride, and listen, I have an older father as well. He's 78 years old. And I know that my father fears change. When they become comfortable doing something, especially an entrepreneurial role, the first 10, 15 years is just constantly being uncomfortable. And it takes many years to feel comfortable with being uncomfortable. So now they're at this comfort level and they just don't want things to go a different direction. So they also have a belief that they can handle everything. The older generation feels that to be successful, you need to be working 60, 70-hour weeks. So else you're not putting in enough time, right? Younger generation understand that, especially growing up in the technology age, that you don't need to work 60 hours a week to make a really good living. You don't need to be at the office at 4 o'clock in the morning and work till 7 o'clock at night, 7 days a week to get work done. There's tons of technology out there that could actually help expedite all that. But even aside from technology, because I'm not a big technology person, I like to start with the basics. It's really understanding why, as you get older in your life, you refuse to seek help, when, in my opinion, it should actually be the opposite. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this all out, but I've gotten quite a few calls where these younger guys were ready to sign me up as an advisor, as a consultant, to help them figure out roles and responsibilities. They've been born and raised in the company. They have no idea what the roles and responsibilities of their next hire should be. They have no idea what process development consists of. They just know that they went from $0 to $5 million to $10 million. The company's been stuck at 15, 20 million for 2, 3, 4 generations, and they have no idea why. But yet they're seeing billion-dollar-a-year companies, $100 million a year companies. And they're very curious to really understand what it takes to get from 15 million to 50 million, then to 100 million. And obviously my background has always been working for a $100 million a year company, $400 million a year company, and $1 billion a year company, right? So I've seen what works and I've seen what not works. And now I'm dealing with contractors anywhere from startup to 100 million. So they trust my advice. They've been following me on social media. But for some reason, we can't crack that barrier to get into their father's head that they can use some help. They can really use some help. And I'm going to leave off with this one last thing. They also mentioned that their fathers are willing, are accepting, and are acknowledging that the company can use a lot of help and that the company probably can be doing better. But they're willing to pass on a company to their younger generation, to their kids, their nephews, whatever it may be, accepting and knowing that very fact. Because they have so much pride and they don't want to show their colleagues that they seeked help. That is a big, big topic. I don't know. I have 2 young kids. I would never want to hand over something to my kids that's not working perfectly well, or that I feel perfectly comfortable and confident that they have the right tools and resources to really expand on what I'm providing them. I would love to know your thoughts on this because this is becoming a very large topic in my world. Thanks.